Millionaire tries to humiliate her maid at a party, but gets the shock of her life when Eleanor van der Linde was a woman who embodied the very essence of Beverly Hills affluence. Her life was a carefully curated tapestry of extravagance, woven with threads of designer labels, exclusive galas, and a social circle that read like a who's who of Hollywood elite. Her mansion, a sprawling testament to her wealth, perched atop a hill overlooking the city, was a stage for her carefully orchestrated performances of opulence. Eleanor, with her perfectly coiffed silver hair and a wardrobe that could rival a Parisian fashion house, ruled her domain with an iron fist, her demeanor as icy as the diamonds adorning her fingers. She viewed her staff as mere extensions of her lavish lifestyle, cogs in the machine that maintained her impeccable image. Amongst her meticulously selected staff was Maria, a young woman who had emigrated from El Salvador, seeking a better life for herself and her family back home. Maria, with her warm brown eyes and a gentle smile that could melt glaciers, was a stark contrast to the cold grandeur of her surroundings. She carried herself with a quiet dignity, her days filled with the endless tasks of maintaining Eleanor's pristine mansion. Despite the stark disparity in their backgrounds, Maria harbored no resentment towards Eleanor. She understood the chasm that separated their worlds, viewing Eleanor as a product of her privileged upbringing, a woman blind to the realities of life beyond her gilded cage. Maria, on the other hand, carried the weight of responsibility on her young shoulders. She sent a portion of her meager earnings back home each month, supporting her ailing mother and younger siblings. Her dreams were modest, a stable job, a safe place to live, and the hope of one day bringing her family to America. One crisp autumn morning, as Maria meticulously dusted the endless collection of porcelain figurines in Eleanor's grand salon, the woman herself swept into the room, her presence filling the space like a chilling draft. "Maria," Eleanor began, her voice sharp and commanding, "I'm hosting my annual birthday gala next week, and I require your assistance." Maria, accustomed to Eleanor's demanding nature, simply nodded, anticipating another list of impossible tasks to complete before the arrival of the esteemed guests. However, Eleanor's next words caught her completely off guard. "I've decided," she continued, a sly smile playing on her lips, "that you will attend the gala as my guest." Maria, stunned into silence, could only stare at Eleanor in disbelief. The thought of attending such an extravagant affair, mingling with the crème de la crème of Los Angeles society, was beyond her wildest imagination. Eleanor, misinterpreting Maria's silence as gratitude, continued, her voice dripping with condescension. "Consider it a bonus for your hard work, Maria, a chance to experience how the other half lives." Maria, unaware of the cruel intentions lurking beneath Eleanor's seemingly generous offer, stammered out her thanks, her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Eleanor, however, had a far more sinister motive in mind. She planned to use Maria as a pawn in her ongoing feud with her arch-rival, the equally wealthy and influential Mrs. Beatrice Worthington. Eleanor envisioned parading Maria around the gala, showcasing her generosity while subtly mocking Beatrice's more traditional views on social class. She relished the thought of the whispers and snide remarks that would circulate amongst the guests, solidifying her position as the undisputed queen of Beverly Hills. As the day of the gala approached, Maria's excitement grew, while Eleanor's anticipation morphed into a cruel satisfaction. The stage was set for a night of humiliation and one-upmanship, with Maria unwittingly caught in the crossfire. The night of the gala arrived, and Eleanor's mansion was transformed into a scene of breathtaking opulence. Crystal chandeliers, imported from Italy, glittered overhead, casting a kaleidoscope of light on the elaborately decorated ballroom. Guests, adorned in designer gowns and jewels that could ransom a small nation, mingled amidst the extravagant surroundings, their conversations a symphony of clinking champagne flutes and polite laughter. Maria, dressed in a simple yet elegant dress she had carefully chosen from a consignment store, stood nervously at the entrance to the ballroom. The sheer grandeur of the setting intimidated her, but she held her head high, determined to make the most of this unexpected opportunity. Eleanor, resplendent in a shimmering ruby-red gown that screamed of wealth and power, spotted Maria from across the room. A predatory smile spread across her face as she approached her unsuspecting prey. "Maria, there you are," she exclaimed, her voice dripping with faux warmth. "Come, let me introduce you to some of my esteemed acquaintances." With Maria in tow, Eleanor embarked on a calculated tour of the ballroom, introducing her maid to a series of bewildered guests. Each introduction was laced with subtle barbs and condescending remarks, designed to highlight Maria's lower social standing. "This is Maria, my diligent maid," Eleanor would announce, her voice laced with a hint of mockery. "She's here to observe how the truly fortunate live." The guests, unsure how to react to this bizarre spectacle, offered polite smiles and awkward greetings, their eyes darting between Eleanor and Maria with a mixture of curiosity and pity. Maria, sensing the underlying tension and the thinly veiled insults, felt a growing unease in the pit of her stomach. Eleanor's cruel game intensified as the night wore on. She strategically placed Maria in embarrassing situations, forcing her to serve hors d'oeuvres and refill champagne glasses while engaging in conversations about topics far beyond her comprehension. Maria's cheeks burned with shame as she endured the patronizing remarks and thinly veiled insults. The pinnacle of Eleanor's humiliation scheme came during a lull in the festivities. With all eyes on her, Eleanor raised her glass and addressed the crowd. "I propose a toast," she announced, her voice ringing through the silent ballroom. "To Maria, my loyal maid, who has graced us with her presence tonight. May this serve as a reminder that even the most humble amongst us can dream of a better life." The guests, caught off guard by Eleanor's audacious toast, erupted into a chorus of forced laughter and applause. Maria, mortified and humiliated, felt tears welling up in her eyes. She had endured enough. With a newfound surge of courage, Maria stepped forward, her voice trembling but resolute. "Mrs. van der Linde," she began, addressing her employer directly, "I appreciate your invitation to this event. However, I believe I've had quite enough glimpse into the lives of the fortunate for one evening." A hush fell over the ballroom as all eyes turned to Maria. Eleanor, her face contorted in anger, glared at her defiant maid. The guests, sensing a dramatic turn of events, leaned in with bated breath. Maria's unexpected defiance hung in the air, shattering the facade of polite conversation and forced smiles that had cloaked the evening. Eleanor, momentarily stunned into silence, felt a surge of anger coursing through her veins. How dare this insignificant maid, this nobody, challenge her authority in front of her esteemed guests? But before Eleanor could unleash her fury, a voice cut through the tension, sharp and clear as a diamond cutter. "Bravo, Maria!" The voice belonged to none other than Mrs. Beatrice Worthington, Eleanor's nemesis, who had been observing the unfolding drama with a keen eye and a hint of amusement. Beatrice, a woman known for her impeccable taste, her sharp wit, and her even sharper tongue, seized the opportunity to deliver a blow to her rival. With a graceful stride that belied her years, she approached Maria, her eyes sparkling with admiration. "I must say, young lady," she declared, her voice carrying through the stunned silence, "you possess more courage than half the people in this room combined." Turning to face Eleanor, Beatrice continued, her voice laced with disdain. "Eleanor, darling, it appears your little game has backfired rather spectacularly. Wouldn't you agree?" Eleanor, her face flushed with a mixture of anger and humiliation, could only sputter in response, her carefully crafted mask of composure cracking under the weight of Beatrice's scathing remark. The guests, sensing a shift in the power dynamic, began to murmur amongst themselves, their whispers a mixture of shock, amusement, and a hint of schadenfreude. Eleanor, the queen bee of Beverly Hills, had been publicly dethroned by her own maid. Maria, emboldened by Beatrice's unexpected support, stood tall, her gaze unwavering. In that moment, she realized that her worth was not determined by her social standing or her employer's whims. She was a person deserving of respect, regardless of her circumstances. Eleanor, realizing that she had lost control of the situation, retreated into the shadows, her carefully orchestrated plan in ruins. The guests, their initial amusement replaced by a sense of unease, began to disperse, leaving Maria and Beatrice standing amidst the remnants of the shattered facade. As the last of the guests departed, Beatrice approached Maria once more, her expression softening. "Maria," she began, her voice gentle, "I admire your spirit. You are a remarkable young woman." Maria, overwhelmed by Beatrice's kindness, could only nod in gratitude. In that moment, a connection was forged between two women from vastly different worlds, united by a shared understanding of human dignity and resilience. The revelation of Eleanor's cruel intentions had not only exposed her true character, but also revealed the unexpected strength and courage within Maria. The gala, intended as a night of humiliation, had instead become a catalyst for Maria's self-discovery and empowerment. It had also inadvertently sparked a rebellion amongst the staff, who had witnessed Eleanor's cruelty firsthand. Whispers of discontent began to circulate below stairs. The staff, emboldened by Maria's defiance, started to question Eleanor's authority and express their own grievances. The once unquestioning obedience that had characterized the household began to crumble. James, the stoic butler, found himself at the center of this quiet rebellion. He had always been a respected figure amongst the staff, his years of service and impeccable demeanor earning him their trust. Now, inspired by Maria's courage, he began to subtly challenge Eleanor's authority, advocating for better working conditions and fair treatment for all. The seeds of change had been sown, and the once impregnable walls of Eleanor's carefully constructed world began to crack. The gala, intended as a display of her power and dominance, had inadvertently triggered a chain of events that would challenge the very foundations of her existence. The morning after the gala, Maria woke with a newfound clarity. The events of the previous night had shaken her to her core, but they had also ignited a fire within her. She realized that remaining in Eleanor's employ was no longer an option. The toxic environment was stifling her spirit and hindering her growth. With a resolute heart, Maria approached Eleanor, her demeanor calm but firm. "Mrs. van der Linde," she began, her voice steady, "I've come to tender my resignation." Eleanor, still reeling from the previous night's debacle and the growing unrest amongst the staff, stared at Maria in disbelief. "Resign?" she sputtered, her voice laced with indignation. "You can't just quit. Who will manage the household, the cleaning, the cooking, the endless errands?" Maria met Eleanor's gaze without flinching. "I'm sure you'll find someone else to fill my position," she replied calmly. "As for me, I'm moving on to pursue other opportunities." Eleanor, accustomed to having her every whim catered to, was enraged by Maria's audacity. "You ungrateful girl," she shrieked. "After all I've done for you, you dare to just walk away?" Maria's patience wore thin. "You haven't done anything for me, Mrs. van der Linde," she retorted. "You've treated me with disdain and used me for your own amusement. I deserve better than that." With that, Maria turned and walked away, leaving Eleanor fuming in her wake. Leaving her job was a risky decision, especially with her family depending on her, but Maria knew it was the right one. She had a small amount of savings, a strong work ethic, and a burning desire to create a better life for herself. She was confident she could find a new job, one where she would be treated with respect and dignity. The news of Maria's departure spread like wildfire through the household staff. Some were sympathetic, others envious, but all were surprised by her boldness. Maria had become an unlikely symbol of defiance, a reminder that even the most seemingly powerless individuals could stand up for themselves. In the days that followed, Maria began searching for new employment. She applied for various positions, from retail to hospitality, determined to find a job that would allow her to build a better future. She also enrolled in evening classes, eager to improve her English and expand her skill set. Meanwhile, Eleanor struggled to cope with Maria's absence. The household chores piled up, and the once pristine mansion began to show signs of neglect. Eleanor's attempts to hire a replacement proved futile, No one could match Maria's efficiency and dedication. The other staff members, inspired by Maria's courage, became less tolerant of Eleanor's demanding nature and condescending remarks. They started to push back, demanding better working conditions and fair treatment. The once harmonious household descended into a state of chaos and discontent. Eleanor's frustration grew with each passing day. She realized that Maria's departure had not only disrupted her household but also exposed her own vulnerability. She had become so accustomed to being surrounded by sycophants and enablers that she had lost the ability to function without them. Her social life also began to suffer. The gossip surrounding Maria's departure and Eleanor's cruel treatment had spread throughout her social circle. Invitations to exclusive events dwindled, and her once adoring friends began to keep their distance. Eleanor, isolated and increasingly desperate, found herself facing the consequences of her actions. Maria's decision to leave had unintended consequences for both of them. Maria faced the challenges of unemployment and the uncertainty of the future, while Eleanor was forced to confront her own dependence and the consequences of her actions. While Maria navigated the challenges of her newfound independence and Eleanor grappled with the consequences of her actions, a parallel storyline unfolded within the walls of the mansion. The departure of Maria and the growing unrest amongst the staff had a profound impact on James, the stoic and reserved butler who had served the van der Linde family for over 2 decades. James, a man of few words and even fewer emotions, had always maintained a professional distance from the other staff, including Maria. However, her sudden departure and the subsequent turmoil had stirred something within him, a sense of responsibility and a growing awareness of the injustice that permeated the household. He had always admired Maria's quiet strength and unwavering work ethic. He had observed her enduring Eleanor's condescending remarks and subtle humiliations with a stoicism that mirrored his own. He had even, on occasion, subtly intervened, diverting Eleanor's attention or offering Maria a supportive glance. Now, with Maria gone and the household in disarray, James found himself reflecting on their interactions, realizing that he missed her presence more than he cared to admit. He missed their brief conversations in the hallway, her gentle smile, and the quiet dignity with which she carried herself. He also recognized the ripple effect of her departure. The other staff members, inspired by Maria's courage, were no longer willing to tolerate Eleanor's mistreatment. They looked to James for guidance and support, recognizing his quiet strength and unwavering sense of fairness. One evening, while polishing the silverware in the dining room, James overheard a conversation between Eleanor and her socialite friend, Mrs. Kensington. They were discussing Maria's departure, their voices laced with disdain and amusement. "Can you imagine, darling?" Eleanor scoffed. "The maid had the audacity to quit, as if she were indispensable." Mrs. Kensington giggled in response. "Such nerve. I suppose she thinks she can make it on her own." James, his blood boiling with indignation, stepped out from the shadows. "Mrs. van der Linde," he interjected, his voice firm, "I believe Maria is a capable and hard-working young woman. She deserves our respect, not our ridicule." Eleanor, startled by James's unexpected intervention, stared at him in disbelief. "James!" she exclaimed, her voice laced with warning. "You dare to contradict me?" James stood his ground, his gaze unwavering. "I simply believe in fairness, madam," he replied calmly. "Maria was treated unfairly, and I will not stand by and listen to her being disparaged." Eleanor, speechless with anger, could only sputter in response. Mrs. Kensington, sensing the tension, excused herself hastily. James's unexpected defense of Maria marked a turning point in his own life. He had always been a passive observer, content to fulfill his duties without question. But Maria's departure and the subsequent gossip had awakened a sense of justice within him, a desire to speak up against injustice and defend those who were unable to defend themselves. He began to actively support the other staff members, encouraging them to stand up for their rights and demand fair treatment. He became a mediator between the staff and Eleanor, trying to bridge the growing divide and restore some semblance of order to the household. His efforts were met with mixed results. Eleanor, resistant to change and accustomed to absolute control, resented his interference. However, the staff, emboldened by his support, continued to push back against her authority. James found himself walking a tightrope, balancing his loyalty to the Van der Linde family with his newfound sense of justice and his desire to protect the staff. He knew that the situation was unsustainable and that something had to change. He just didn't know what. The unlikely friendship that blossomed between Maria and Beatrice after the gala deepened with time. Beatrice, intrigued by Maria's spirit and resilience, continued to reach out, offering support and guidance as she navigated her new life. Maria, initially hesitant to accept help from someone of Beatrice's stature, gradually warmed to her genuine warmth and concern. Beatrice, unlike Eleanor, treated Maria with respect and saw her potential beyond her social standing. She recognized a kindred spirit in Maria, a woman who possessed a quiet strength and determination that resonated with her own values. Their friendship became a source of strength and encouragement for both women. Maria, exposed to a world beyond the confines of Eleanor's mansion, began to explore new interests and possibilities. Beatrice, in turn, found inspiration in Maria's determination and resilience, a refreshing contrast to the superficiality of her own social circle. Beatrice introduced Maria to a network of influential people, opening doors to opportunities Maria had never dreamed of. She encouraged Maria to pursue her education, offering to finance her studies and connect her with mentors in her chosen field. Maria, eager to learn and grow, embraced these opportunities with open arms. She enrolled in evening classes, balancing her studies with part-time jobs to support herself. Beatrice became her confidant and cheerleader, offering guidance and encouragement every step of the way. Their friendship extended beyond mere mentorship. It became a genuine bond of mutual respect and affection. They shared meals, attended cultural events, and engaged in lively discussions about life, dreams, and aspirations. Beatrice, with her vast life experience and sharp wit, offered Maria a unique perspective on the world, while Maria, with her youthful optimism and unwavering determination, brought a fresh perspective to Beatrice's life. One afternoon, while enjoying tea in Beatrice's sun-drenched garden, Maria expressed her gratitude for her friend's unwavering support. "Beatrice," she began, her voice filled with emotion, "I don't know where I would be without you. You've changed my life." Beatrice smiled warmly, her eyes twinkling with affection. "Maria, my dear," she replied, "you have changed my life as well. You've reminded me of what truly matters in life: kindness, compassion, and the courage to be true to oneself." Their friendship, born out of an act of defiance and an unexpected alliance, became a testament to the power of human connection. It transcended social barriers and societal expectations, proving that true friendship could blossom in the most unexpected circumstances. Meanwhile, within the walls of the mansion, another unlikely bond was forming. James, the stoic butler, and the remaining staff found themselves united in their shared experience of Eleanor's increasingly erratic behavior and their growing desire for change. James, inspired by Maria's courage and guided by his own sense of justice, continued to advocate for the staff, negotiating with Eleanor for better working conditions and fair treatment. He became a trusted confidant, offering support and guidance to his fellow employees. The staff, in turn, looked to James for leadership and protection. They shared their grievances with him, seeking his advice and relying on his wisdom. They organized informal gatherings, sharing meals and stories, finding solace in their shared experiences and mutual support. One evening, after a particularly tense confrontation with Eleanor, James gathered the staff in the kitchen. "We cannot continue like this," he declared, his voice firm but compassionate. "We deserve to be treated with respect and dignity." The staff nodded in agreement, their faces etched with a mixture of fear and determination. They discussed their options, weighing the risks of further defiance against the desire for change. James, sensing their apprehension, offered words of encouragement. "We are stronger together," he reminded them. "We must stand united and demand the respect we deserve." Inspired by his words, The staff agreed to continue their quiet rebellion, supporting each other and challenging Eleanor's authority. Whenever possible, they knew the road ahead would be difficult, but they were determined to fight for their rights and create a more just and equitable workplace. The relationships within the mansion were undergoing a profound transformation. The once rigid hierarchy was slowly dissolving, replaced by a sense of camaraderie and shared purpose. The staff, once isolated and subservient, were finding strength in unity and solidarity. Months passed, and Maria thrived in her newfound independence. She excelled in her studies, secured a promising internship at a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping immigrants, and even began volunteering at a local community center, assisting others in navigating the challenges of settling in a new country. Eleanor, meanwhile, continued to struggle with Maria's absence and the growing unrest amongst the staff. Her attempts to replace Maria proved futile. No one could match her efficiency and dedication. The mansion, once a symbol of pristine order, fell into a state of disarray. Her social life continued to deteriorate. The gossip surrounding Maria's departure and Eleanor's cruel treatment had tarnished her reputation. Invitations to exclusive events became scarce, and her once adoring circle of friends kept their distance. Eleanor, increasingly isolated and frustrated, lashed out at the remaining staff, her behavior becoming more erratic and unpredictable. The staff, however, emboldened by James's support and Maria's example, continued to resist her authority, creating a tense and volatile atmosphere within the mansion. One evening, while hosting a small dinner party in a desperate attempt to salvage her social standing, Eleanor received a phone call that would change everything. It was the hospital, informing her that James, her loyal butler, had suffered a heart attack and was in critical condition. Eleanor rushed to the hospital, her heart pounding with fear and guilt. She had always taken James's loyalty for granted, never acknowledging his years of dedicated service or the emotional toll her behavior had taken on him. Now, faced with the possibility of losing him, she realized how much he meant to her. At the hospital, Eleanor found James in a private room, hooked up to machines and monitors. His face was pale, his breathing shallow. Eleanor, overcome with emotion, collapsed into a chair beside his bed, tears streaming down her face. "James," she whispered, her voice choked with sobs. "I'm so sorry. I've been so blind, so selfish." James, his eyes fluttering open, weakly squeezed her hand. "It's all right, madam," he rasped, his voice barely audible. "I understand." Eleanor, her heart breaking, poured out her regrets and remorse. She confessed her mistreatment of Maria, her arrogance, and her neglect of those who truly cared for her. She acknowledged the pain she had caused James, the burden she had placed on his shoulders, and the unfairness of her expectations. James, with a faint smile, offered her forgiveness. "You are not a bad person, madam," he whispered. "You simply lost your way." James's words, spoken with such kindness and understanding, struck a chord within Eleanor. In that moment, she realized the error of her ways, the shallowness of her pursuits, and the true meaning of human connection. She saw the genuine concern in the eyes of the other staff members who had gathered at the hospital, their worry for James transcending their resentment towards her. The climactic event of James's illness served as a wake-up call for Eleanor, forcing her to confront her own mortality and the consequences of her actions. It shattered the illusion of control she had so carefully constructed, revealing the fragility of her world and the emptiness of her pursuits. It also exposed the depth of the connections she had neglected. The staff, despite their grievances, were genuinely concerned for James, their shared concern creating a sense of unity that transcended their differences with Eleanor. Even Beatrice, informed of James's condition, arrived at the hospital, offering support and comfort to both James and Eleanor. In the quiet stillness of the hospital room, surrounded by the people she had hurt and neglected, Eleanor experienced a profound shift in perspective. She saw the world through new eyes, recognizing the value of compassion, empathy, and genuine connection. She knew that she had a long road ahead, but for the first time, she felt a glimmer of hope, a sense of possibility for a different kind of future. The near-death experience of James served as a catalyst for change in Eleanor. Haunted by guilt and regret, she embarked on a journey of self-reflection and redemption. She realized that her pursuit of social status and material wealth had left her emotionally bankrupt and disconnected from the people who truly mattered. Determined to make amends, Eleanor began by reaching out to Maria. She tracked her down at the community center, her heart pounding with apprehension. Maria, surprised by Eleanor's unexpected appearance, greeted her with cautious curiosity. Eleanor, humbled and contrite, apologized for her past behavior. "Maria," she began, her voice trembling with sincerity, "I want to apologize for the way I treated you. I was wrong, terribly wrong. You deserved so much better." She went on to explain the events that had led to her change of heart, detailing James's illness and her realization of the emptiness of her previous life. She expressed her admiration for Maria's resilience and her success in building a new life, acknowledging the strength and determination it took for Maria to leave her position and forge her own path. Maria, taken aback by Eleanor's genuine remorse, listened patiently. She acknowledged the pain and humiliation she had endured, but also recognized Eleanor's efforts to make amends. She saw the vulnerability beneath Eleanor's carefully constructed facade, a vulnerability that resonated with her own experiences. Eleanor, relieved and grateful, extended an olive branch. She offered to support Maria's education further, providing her with access to resources and opportunities that would accelerate her career path. She offered to pay for her tuition, connect her with influential people in her field of interest, and even offered her a room in her mansion should Maria need a place to stay. Maria, recognizing the sincerity of Eleanor's offer, accepted, seeing it as a chance to further her goals and potentially help others in similar situations. She also saw it as an opportunity to help Eleanor on her path to redemption, to guide her towards a more meaningful and fulfilling life. Eleanor's efforts to make amends extended beyond Maria. She visited James regularly at the hospital, offering comfort and support during his recovery. She spent hours by his bedside, reading to him, sharing stories, and reminiscing about their shared experiences. She also ensured that he received the best medical care, sparing no expense to aid in his recovery. She also reconnected with her neglected friends and family, rebuilding bridges that had been burned by her self-absorption. She reached out to her estranged sister, with whom she hadn't spoken in years, and rekindled their bond. She spent more time with her nieces and nephews, showering them with affection and attention she had previously withheld. She began to engage in philanthropic activities, donating generously to charities and volunteering her time to causes she had previously ignored. She supported organizations dedicated to helping immigrants, the homeless, and victims of domestic abuse. She sought to use her wealth and influence to make a positive impact on the world, seeking a sense of purpose beyond social climbing and material possessions. Her transformation was not without its challenges. Old habits died hard, and she occasionally slipped back into her old patterns of arrogance and self-importance. But with each misstep, she learned and grew, striving to become a better version of herself. She sought guidance from Maria and Beatrice, relying on their honest feedback and support to navigate her new path. Her efforts were not unnoticed. Beatrice, initially skeptical of Eleanor's transformation, gradually warmed up to her, recognizing the genuine change in her demeanor and actions. They rekindled their friendship, albeit on a more balanced and authentic footing. Beatrice became a trusted advisor, offering Eleanor guidance and support as she navigated her new life. Eleanor's attempts to resolve the conflicts she had created were met with varying degrees of success. Some wounds healed quickly, while others required time and patience. But with each step forward, she felt a sense of liberation, shedding the weight of her past and embracing a future filled with purpose and meaning. The staff at the mansion also noticed the change in Eleanor. While still wary, they began to respond to her newfound humility and her efforts to create a more respectful and equitable work environment. They appreciated her concern for James and her willingness to listen to their concerns. The atmosphere in the mansion began to shift, the tension and resentment gradually replaced by a cautious optimism. Eleanor's journey of redemption was a long and arduous one, But with each step, she moved closer to a more authentic and fulfilling life. She was learning to let go of her past, embrace her flaws, and connect with others on a deeper, more meaningful level. James's recovery was slow but steady. With Eleanor's unwavering support, the dedicated care of the hospital staff, and the well wishes of the mansion staff, he regained his strength and eventually returned home. However, he decided to retire from his duties as butler, choosing to prioritize his health and well-being over the demands of his former position. Eleanor, respecting his decision, offered him a comfortable retirement package and a permanent residence in the beautifully appointed guest house on her property. She ensured that he had everything he needed: comfortable furnishings, a well-stocked kitchen, and access to all the amenities of the mansion. James, touched by her generosity and genuine concern, accepted, grateful for the opportunity to enjoy a peaceful retirement close to the family he had served for so many years. He also appreciated the newfound respect and camaraderie he shared with Eleanor, their relationship evolving from one of employer and employee to one of genuine friendship. With James's retirement, Eleanor decided to make a significant change in her own life. She realized that the sprawling mansion, once a symbol of her status and success, had become a burden, a constant reminder of her past mistakes and the superficiality of her former life. She decided to sell the mansion and downsize to a smaller, more manageable home. The proceeds from the sale were used to establish a foundation in James's name, dedicated to supporting retired domestic workers and providing them with access to healthcare, affordable housing, and other essential services. This act of philanthropy marked a turning point in Eleanor's life. She had finally shed the shackles of her materialistic pursuits and embraced a new direction, one focused on giving back to the community and making a positive impact on the lives of others. She moved into a charming cottage by the beach, a far cry from the opulent mansion she once called home. The cottage, with its cozy rooms and breathtaking ocean views, provided a sense of peace and tranquility she had never experienced before. She found joy in simple pleasures: gardening, reading, spending time with friends and family. She reconnected with her artistic side, taking painting classes and transforming her spare bedroom into an art studio. She also continued her philanthropic work, finding fulfillment in helping others and making a difference in the world. She became a regular visitor at the James Foundation, offering her support and guidance to the staff and beneficiaries. She organized fundraising events, volunteered her time, and used her connections to advocate for the rights of domestic workers. Her transformation was complete. The once haughty and self-absorbed socialite had become a compassionate and generous woman, her life enriched by genuine connections and meaningful pursuits. She had found a sense of purpose that transcended her previous life of extravagance and superficiality. The sale of the mansion also had a profound impact on the remaining staff. Eleanor, in a gesture of goodwill and gratitude, offered them generous severance packages and assistance in finding new employment. Some chose to retire, while others pursued new opportunities, armed with the skills and experience they had gained during their time at the mansion. The staff, grateful for Eleanor's newfound respect and generosity, parted ways on amicable terms. They carried with them the lessons they had learned, the bonds they had formed, and the memories of their shared experiences, both good and bad. The mansion, once a symbol of opulence and inequality, was sold to a young couple who planned to transform it into a community center, offering educational programs and recreational activities to underprivileged families. The grand ballroom, where Eleanor had once hosted her extravagant galas, would now be used for community gatherings, celebrations, and events that fostered connection and inclusivity. The transformation of the mansion mirrored Eleanor's own transformation, symbolizing a shift from exclusivity and self-indulgence to community and shared purpose. It marked a new chapter in the lives of everyone who had been touched by the events of the past year, a chapter filled with hope, possibility, and the promise of a more meaningful future. The journey from socialite to philanthropist was a transformative one for Eleanor. Stripped of her pretense and forced to confront her flaws, she emerged a stronger, more compassionate individual. She learned the value of humility, the importance of genuine connection, and the power of forgiveness, both giving and receiving it. Reflecting on her past, Eleanor recognized the emptiness of her former life. The relentless pursuit of social status and material wealth had left her feeling isolated and unfulfilled. She had mistaken admiration for affection and possessions for purpose. She had built her life on a foundation of superficiality, surrounding herself with people who validated her ego rather than challenging her to grow. The events of the past year had opened her eyes to the true meaning of life. She discovered the joy of giving back, the satisfaction of making a difference in the world, and the fulfillment of genuine human connection. She learned to appreciate the simple things in life, the beauty of nature, the warmth of human kindness, and the power of shared experiences. She cherished her renewed friendship with Beatrice, appreciating her honesty and unwavering support. Beatrice had challenged her, pushed her to confront her flaws, and ultimately helped her to become a better person. She admired Maria's resilience and determination, recognizing her as an inspiration and a testament to the human spirit. Maria had shown her the power of courage and the importance of standing up for what is right, even in the face of adversity. She also valued her bond with James, now a dear friend and confidant. She regretted her past neglect but was grateful for his forgiveness and unwavering loyalty. James had taught her the meaning of true service, the value of quiet strength, and the importance of loyalty and compassion. Eleanor's transformation extended beyond her personal life. She became an advocate for social justice, using her platform to raise awareness about inequality and advocate for the rights of marginalized communities. She spoke out against the exploitation of domestic workers, sharing her own experiences and calling for fair treatment and ethical employment practices. She used her influence to lobby for policy changes and support organizations dedicated to improving the lives of those in need. Her newfound purpose gave her life meaning and direction. She no longer sought validation from external sources but found fulfillment in her own actions and contributions to the world. She embraced her new life with gratitude and humility, recognizing the journey she had undertaken and the lessons she had learned. She understood that true wealth lay not in material possessions but in the richness of human connection and the satisfaction of making a positive impact. She also realized that her transformation was an ongoing process, a journey of continuous learning and growth. She knew that she would stumble along the way, that old habits would resurface, and that she would face new challenges. But she was committed to the path she had chosen, the path of compassion, service, and genuine connection. She found joy in mentoring young people, sharing her experiences and encouraging them to pursue their dreams. She became a source of inspiration to others, demonstrating that it is never too late to change, to learn from our mistakes, and to embrace a new direction. Eleanor's story became a tale of redemption, a testament to the human capacity for growth and transformation. She had shed the gilded cage of her former life and emerged as a butterfly, her wings carrying her towards a future filled with purpose, meaning, and genuine connection. Eleanor's story is a powerful testament to the human capacity for change and redemption. It highlights the transformative power of self-reflection, forgiveness, and genuine connection. It reminds us that true fulfillment lies not in material wealth or social status, but in the richness of human relationships and the pursuit of a meaningful life. Eleanor's journey from arrogant socialite to compassionate philanthropist underscores the importance of empathy and compassion. It demonstrates that even those who seem to have it all can find themselves lost and unfulfilled if they lack genuine connection and purpose. It shows that true wealth lies not in the abundance of possessions but in the richness of human connection and the satisfaction of making a positive impact on the world. Her story serves as a reminder that it is never too late to change, to learn from our mistakes, and to embrace a new direction. It encourages us to look beyond superficial appearances and recognize the inherent worth and dignity of every individual, regardless of their social standing or circumstances. It challenges us to question our own values and priorities, to examine the foundations upon which we build our lives, and to seek meaning beyond the pursuit of material wealth and social status. Eleanor's transformation is a beacon of hope, reminding us that even in the face of adversity and personal failings, we have the power to choose a different path, to make amends, and to create a life filled with purpose and meaning. Her story is a testament to the enduring human spirit and the transformative power of redemption. It shows us that we all have the potential for growth and change, regardless of our past mistakes or current circumstances. The story also highlights the importance of community and solidarity. The staff at the mansion, initially divided by their roles and social standing, found strength in unity and collective action. They supported each other, challenged injustice, and ultimately contributed to Eleanor's transformation. Their story reminds us that we are stronger together, that we can achieve more when we work together towards a common goal. Eleanor's journey is an inspiration to us all. It encourages us to embrace our flaws, to seek forgiveness, and to strive for a life of purpose and meaning. It reminds us that true happiness lies in connection, compassion, and contribution to something greater than ourselves. It is a story that resonates with the deepest human desires for love, belonging, and purpose, reminding us that we all have the potential to create a life of significance and leave a positive impact on the world.